Hello and welcome to my channel. So today's look is inspired by junk food. It's as simple as that today. Has anyone in quarantine just been eating rubbish? Because I have. So today's look, I started it off by using the Peel base in the shade 0 to prime my lids. And then I went into the Colourpop Choose a Rainbow palette. And I used the shadow called Sweet Spot and applied this on the inner half of my eye. And then for the outer half of my eye, I used the shade called Hard Place. I blend them pretty much up to my brows, and then in the middle I blend them together and it makes a little bit of an orange shade. I used yellow and red majority for this look because it seems to be the colours that a lot of fast food chains use, especially McDonald's. When I applied the red eyeshadow, I applied it quite lightly, but then on the outer corners I really layered it up so it looked a little bit darker. I then did all my base makeup off camera before getting a white eyeliner pencil and I started to sketch out some of the designs. The first design I sketched out was the slice of pizza. I wanted it to look like the cheese was dripping off the pizza and kind of dripped into the yellow eyeshadow on my eye. The yellow face paint I used to paint the cheese is in the Snazaroo 8 pan face paint palette. I then got a makeup remover on an earbud and started to tap over the slice of pizza where I'm going to put the pepperoni. I feel like I said that wrong. Is it pepperoni or pepperami? Or are they two different things? I don't know, let me know. For the pizza crust, I used the Snazaroo face paint in the shade light beige. Then I used the Snazaroo face paint in the shade light brown to outline the pizza crust. I then got the red face paint in the Snazaroo 8 pan palette to paint the pepperoni. Now looking at it, it kind of looks like tomatoes as well, but I guess it could be either. I then used the orange in that same palette to outline the cheesy base. To create some shading around the pizza slice, I went into the Lunatic Cosmetics Labs contour palette and used the browns in that palette to create the shadow. I then used a white Snazaroo face paint to create some highlights on the cheese, the crust and the tomatoes of the pizza. Now it's time to draw the other junk food on my face. So on one cheek, as you can see, I've already drawn a hot dog and now I'm drawing the case for the fries to sit in. Then I start to draw the burger that is on my neck. Going back to the eyes super quickly, I use that shadow called Hard Place and start to blend that on my bottom lash line. And then I go and use that shadow called Sweet Spot and blend that on the inner corner of my lash line as well. For the bun of the hot dog, I used that same light beige Snazaroo face paint that I used for the pizza crust. And I used that same red that we used earlier to paint the packet that the fries are going to be sitting in. I'm sorry that I'm bouncing to all different parts of my face right now and not doing it in order. It's just how I do things. To make the packet that the fries are sitting in a little bit more 3D, I added a tiny bit of white face paint to the outer portions of the packet. I then used the Snazaroo light brown face paint to paint the sausage in the hot dog and also outline the bun. I don't know what you call this, the little bit that's at the end of sausages, but I painted that as well. I hope that makes more sense when you actually look at it than me describing it. I then got the red face paint and the yellow face paint that we used earlier and painted on some ketchup and mustard. I wanted to do the same thing like I did on the pizza where the cheese is dripping off and making my eyeshadow yellow. I wanted to do the same thing on the hot dog for my lipstick. So I made it look like the ketchup was dripping off of the hot dog and going towards my lips. I got the Lunatic Cosmetics Labs contour palette again and created some shading underneath the hot dog. To create a little bit more texture on the bun, I got a white face paint and painted some tiny thin stripes on the bun. Moving on to the fries, I got that yellow face paint that we have been using and a square brush and started to paint the fries. To make the fries stand out from each other, I got the Snazaroo light beige face paint and started to outline each fry. And like I've done with the other pieces of junk food, I create a shadow underneath it. I then use that red face paint that we have been using throughout this tutorial and I use it to fill in my brows. Moving on to the burger on my neck, I use the Snazaroo light beige face paint for the burger bun. I then go back to that yellow face paint and start to paint the cheese. For the lettuce, I used the Snazaroo face paint in the shade lime green. And for the tomatoes in the burger, I used that red face paint that we've been using throughout this tutorial. For the meat in the burger, I used the Snazaroo face paint in light brown and I also use this to outline the burger bun. I then get a white face paint and start to tap on some dots on the top of the burger bun to look like sesame seeds. I also use it to create a little bit of texture on the bun, just like we did for the hot dog. Using the same technique, I also use the face paint called Light Brown by Snazaroo. To create texture on the lettuce, I also used the green in the 8-pan Snazaroo face paint palette, and I created some highlight on the tomato with the white face paint. I then used the orange in that palette to create some different textures on the cheese. I feel like I'm repeating myself a lot in this tutorial, so I'm sorry if it is annoying, but I then create the shadow underneath the burger just like I've done with all the other pieces of junk food. Moving back to the face, I coat my lashes with some mascara before using the Colourpop Creme Gel Liner in the shade Crust to put in my waterline. For my lashes, I use the Eldora False Lashes in the shade Fairy Dolly. I do have a discount code for Eldora Lashes and Colourpop, as well as some other makeup brands in the description box down below. For my lips, I started off by using the Colourpop Ultra Blotted Lip in the shade Swing Away, and then I topped that with the Avon Mark Liquid Lip Lacquer Shine in the shade Work It. I lastly put on my red short wig, and then I also put in my hair this little burger, fries and hot dog. These are actually rubbers or erasers. Do you remember they used to do them and you could collect them? I found these in like a 99p shop somewhere, and I stuck some hair slides to the back of them. So this is the final look. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. If you do like it, make sure to press that like button, and if you'd like to see more from me, hit the subscribe button if you haven't already. If you don't follow me on Instagram, please make sure you do. Also, just double check that you're following my new account. If you have already been following me, you might not follow my new one. My old account was at Brooke.Ellis_ and it got hacked and deleted, so I had to start all over again, and my new account is called at Brooke Ellis Makeup. It is on the screen right now and linked in the description box down below. Thank you so much for watching this video, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!